Hello. I am going to start by reading you something of a horror story. I'm going to apply this to all the big internet companies because they all have the same structure and they are all making the same mistakes. Now, when I use the word mistake, I mean I'm talking about the sort of mistake which worked to the advantage of the company. It is a mistake, but they don't bother redressing it or resetting it or even trying to find a way around it because, well, it's not their problem really. It starts here in The Spectator. It's by somebody called Candia Lutyens, and the article is "Why has eBay banned me for life?" Okay, so she starts off slightly dramatically. But sometimes you can't overstate the case with these issues. Imagine a country where there is no rule of law, where you might be scooped off the street without warning, put before a kangaroo court and sentenced to life in prison without parole and without right of appeal. You have no idea of the charge against you because no one in authority will tell you. You are innocent of any crime, except you don't know what your crime is. The full might of the law has been brought down on your head and you have nowhere to turn. What if this imaginary country was not in fact a nation state, but a large, wealthy and powerful company? What if it was eBay? Recently, I was asked by a friend if, in my capacity as a serious amateur photographer, I would look over and value some vintage cameras and lenses that he had inherited. After a little research, I quickly ascertained that they were eminently sellable and that the best marketplace for them was eBay. As my friend didn't have an eBay account, I agreed to use my mostly dormant account to sell his pieces. I successfully sold an ancient cinematic lens to begin with, and happy with the result, decided to follow up with the more valuable of the two cameras, an early 1950s Nikon. Is it pronounced Nikon or Nikon? I think it's Nikon, isn't it? Not being a regular habitué of eBay, I didn't realise that there was a monthly limit in place. Well, I've used eBay occasionally and I didn't know that either. And the balance left after the first sale left me with too little on my limit to proceed to the next. Not a problem. I went into their chat service and passed a very easy 10 minutes with a chap calling himself Gerald, during which time he explained the rules, helped me link my PayPal account to my eBay account, and satisfactorily ended with a 20-fold increase in my cash limit and an allowance of 100 items per month, far more than I needed. Within seconds of finishing with Gerald, each of us wishing the other a very pleasant evening, I received 3 emails in quick succession. The first contained the transcript of my chat. The second informed me of my limit increases. And the third informed me that I was banned for life. What the hell had I done? I googled eBay suspensions and discovered that your crimes, I'm sorry, the phone's in the way now, need to be up there with hate speech, passing on of counterfeit goods, or misappropriation of a registered trademark. I sent a text to the person who had bought the lens. Had he received it and was he happy? Yes, all good and no problems. So it wasn't any of those crimes. Then what was it? Now I'm going to take a digression here because this happened to me the other day. Some of you will remember, it wasn't quite as bad as this, but I just want to show you how these things operate. I put up a video about my son having trouble disposing of some cardboard boxes. Some of you will remember that. When you put videos up, you fill in a sort of questionnaire which tells you, which puts some questions to you. Does this video feature acts of violence? Does it feature children? Various things like that they might feel would be sensitive issues. I answered no to all of that. And then the last question is, does it go into serious issues not listed above? Well, I had some problem with that because on the one hand it did, and on the one hand it didn't. I'm not entirely sure whether I said yes or no to that. But the end result was the automated response to my questionnaire was that the video would be monetized. That's the point of going through that. They want to ascertain that what you're putting up is not such that an advertiser might find it objectionable. There are other aspects to that, but I won't go into them right now. And then it was monetized. It went up monetized. A few hours later, I noticed it wasn't monetized. So I raised a question about it. Now, the interesting thing about this is when you raise a question, it says, all right, we'll review it. But in this case, it said, we are not going to review this. That's it. It's not going to be monetized. So then I went to the support. Now, the support, just like this lady had with eBay, I'm assuming it's a lady with a name like Candia, I also found a helpful, friendly assistant who went through things with me and said, I think it was a she would look into it. And that was the end of it. Now, something funny happened thereafter, because a little bit later, I noticed the video was monetized. And I thought, oh, good, right, that's the end of that. They realized it's a story about cardboard boxes. A little bit later, it was demonetized again. And, well, there wasn't much more I could do. And then I got a letter from the assistant who said it was demonetized because, what it said was, videos are generally demonetized. So she didn't say it's your video that's like this. She just said videos are generally demonetized because they show violence, they are insulting, or they're immoral, something like that. There's absolutely nothing of that sort in my video, but obviously it had been categorized in that way. And I raised the issue with her that I thought I was being stalked by another engineer, was being antagonistic in some way. I also pointed out that in the past month or so, I have had 300 subscriptions suddenly stripped from my account, which seemed to me, I said, I think somebody's got it in for me. She gave me an explanation which, frankly, I didn't believe, but I did believe that she believed it. Anyway, so as I said, it started off monetized, it became demonetized, it then went into being remonetized, and then it went into being demonetized again. And now, a few hours later, it was remonetized. I have no idea what was going on there, but I am assuming there was some sort of tussle going on within the system, within the various people who are dealing with this. So I do feel that there may be one single engineer who's got it in for me, and then other engineers who look at the video and say, it's a funny story about overweening officialdom, but it's hardly immoral or violent. Anyway, so that's what happened to me. But the point is, the system is opaque. I can't get in there. I can't confront my accusers. I can merely register an objection with somebody who really has nothing to do with the original accusation. And this system works in the same way for Facebook, for YouTube, and here for eBay. It's all running on the same fragile accusatory system that makes the client, whoever the client is, puts the client in a really weak position. And there is no legal recourse. And there should be. Right, so and this is a good example, but it is by no means the only example. It's part of a whole structure, and some legal authority should be able to do something about it. It's a model that people have not come across before in general. The idea that a whole system of communication can be controlled by, you see, it's not all of Google who's doing this. It's one engineer. You get an automated system, and then that is looked at by a human when you raise the point. So it depends on one person, and that one person may be of goodwill or may not be. And the system itself is set up in that way. That's where it's wrong. But it's not like Google is deliberately going out to mash its clients. It's just that's the way the system has developed. All right. So let's get back to this one. Her transaction had been honest, and there was nothing dodgy about it. So what was it? She asked. Okay, let's follow their suggestion and click on help. A small problem here. Help takes you to your login page, and of course she couldn't log in. So she found a phone number for technical support with a voice activated menu, and on the strength of that alone, the robot recording told me my account was blocked, yes, I know, and diverted me back to the message of the first phone number. I found an eBay community forum online, not realizing it was run by eBay. I explained my predicament, hit post, and guess what? I can't post unless I log into my account. So here I am, tried in absentia for I know not what, no recourse to appeal, no means of getting hold of anyone who knows anything, and what now? I really have no idea. Do I care greatly if I'm banned for life from eBay for reasons I can't explain? Not particularly. Yes, from an emotional and intellectual point of view, very much. I do very definitely care that minutes before my expulsion, my eBay account was linked to my PayPal account at their request. And by the way, the funds due to me from the sale of the lens are sitting there with a blocked by eBay flag on them. You see, obviously, eBay now has it listed as a dishonest transaction for whatever reason, and possibly just the incompetence of some engineer who categorized it in that way. But there's no comeback on that. I don't know if this will have knock-on effects with PayPal, but I have worried about this and everything up to and including my credit rating, and so she should, because these things are very much interlinked now. What I really care about is that eBay has shown itself to be the corporate equivalent of a lousy, undemocratic state. Its behaviour is demagogic, draconian, and disrespectful. It is a law unto itself. And though the implication of my woes, a couple of unsold cameras, are not vast in the greater scheme of things, I find myself converting to activism against the power of the unchecked corporate machine. That's the end of it. And it's Candia Lutyens who said it. So I sympathise with this lady. I know how she feels, although I haven't found myself in quite such a terrible fix. It's pretty awful what's happened to her, and there is no legal recourse. That's the problem. The fact is that it's some office in, I don't know what, California, maybe Ireland. I know Facebook has deals. I happen to know that Facebook deals with some parts of the English-speaking world, like Australia, I think New Zealand, perhaps from Ireland rather than Australia and New Zealand. So, it's very difficult to get a hold on these things, but certainly some lawmaker should watch out for this, and something should be done about ordinary legal systems applying to such organisations as eBay, and I do have to say, and YouTube too. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Granniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.